Michael, because this is an intriguing game. Two teams that go about it quite differently. We mentioned the defensive solidity of Spain, not conceding a single goal. But for me, it feels like they're sort of still in third gear. It's like you got a sports car, but you're driving around these narrow city streets and you can't really open it up yet. They haven't got to the highway. I get this sense that there is a lot more to give from this team going forward.
Yeah, look, this is a Spanish national team side that when we look back on what they did at the last Euros, I see a lot of similarities in terms of they didn't really come to life up until this very stage. You think of the match against Germany where they just have so many different weapons. And I think that we probably aren't seeing the best Spain in the final third, Adam, especially because you look at the timing of a lot of the injuries, a lot of the key parts that were part of that success at the last Euros. Lamine Yamal coming back from injury right in time for the World Cup. You think of Nico Williams, who, man, when are we going to see him put together a full match? You also think of the likes of Mikel Merino. It's good to see Mikel Merino come in and show why he is so damn good, why he is so effective for both Arsenal and the Spanish national team side. But we always say that defense does what in football in the big matches, right? It wins you championships. It wins you big games. I love that Spain has done an excellent job of finding ways to win matches in both boxes. And that's down to the fact, and one player that I don't think gets a lot of credit for how good Spain has been Aymeric Laporte. You think of the fact that he is mentoring in real time Pau Cubarsí, who a lot of Spanish football fans probably may have not had him as a starting center back for this Spain team, because in my opinion, he didn't have the best of seasons with Barcelona. But the likes of Laporte, the likes of Marc Cucurella, who looks every bit of the player that is going to Real Madrid at this World Cup, you just really see the Spain side leading from back to front. We also got to give kudos to Rodri, because Rodri is looking like Ballon d'Or Rodri as of late.
How do you think they'll feel about playing Belgium compared to playing the US? I don't know how many people genuinely thought the US were going to get past Belgium. That's a conversation for another day. But do you think Spain are happier playing against Belgium, who have just come off a big win against one of the host nations, or playing the US but in the USA?
I think Spain don't care who they play. They will play anyone, anywhere, anytime. And I really do believe that the best is yet to come from Spain. And this is almost like this slow building tidal wave in Spanish football right now at this World Cup, where you see glimpses of what could be and I think where they let themselves down with. You think of a player who's been clinical as hell for the most part whenever he puts a Spain kit on, is Mikel Oyarzabal. Against Portugal, that should have been 2-0 up in the first 15, 20 minutes.
It's his worst game by a long way.
Absolutely. He just lacked that cutting edge. He lacked that focus. And you could say the same about quite a few. Lamine Yamal, although he's a teenage sensation, there's been just that final act, that final movement where Spain has let themselves down. But what I love about Spain is they keep finding ways, it's death by 10,000 paper cuts, where they grind you down, and it's their midfield that has really taken a hold of matches in the second half. I point to the partnership of Rodri and Pedri. In the Euros, Fabian Ruiz was playing in the midfield. Dani Olmo was coming off the bench. So there's this sense of competition in this Spain side that I love that Luis de la Fuente is really put in, where if you're not playing your best football, and there's only a handful of players that they're not leaving the field as long as they're healthy, it's next man up sort of mentality, and it keeps everyone accountable to come up with a big moment.
What about Belgium? How are they feeling going into this game? They must have derived so much confidence by that victory and the manner of the victory against the US, you know, being able to deal with such a partisan crowd, what had happened beforehand with Balogun, and being able to put in such a dominant performance, really keep their hand on the US's head throughout the entire game. And this, to me, and I think this photo and the celebrations when Lukaku scored the late goal and after the final whistle really showed that we've always spoken about Belgium in the last 15 or so years as a team with great players, but not necessarily a great team. They never look that together. It's just a bunch of individuals. Whereas at this World Cup, it does seem like they have finally come together as a team.
Yeah, it's incredible to see Belgian football when it comes to making the quarterfinals. Adam, you look at when they've done it. 2014, they did it. 2018, they did it. And now 2026. So quarterfinalists, minimum, in 3 of the last 4 World Cups. That doesn't get talked about enough. And if you had told me Rudy Garcia would be the architect of this quarterfinal run when they started in the group stage against the likes of Egypt, against the likes of Iran, I would have said, what type of beer, what type of booze are you sipping on because you're out of your damn mind. But I'm a big believer in that off-field situations at times can be the best catalyst for a team and a Belgian national team that's looked divided at different times. And Rudy Garcia deserves a lot of credit because he was bold in making a bold decision to the lineup he put out against the U.S. men's national team. Kevin De Bruyne was doing what you and I are doing. He sat on the bench. Jeremy Doku, who was fantastic for Manchester City towards the end of the season, although Jeremy Doku went for reasons that he should have gone for, which is to be with his family. You and I, both his dads, definitely applaud that. But to field the team with Nicholas Raskin, who when the World Cup started, he wasn't in the plans, I'm sure, for Rudy Garcia. To field a team like this, where Dodi Lukebakio, Benfica player who we covered in the Champions League, he wasn't in the tea leaves. It shows a lot of belief in himself as a manager, but also it's a proof that sometimes your best players on paper, your big superstars, if they don't fit what you're trying to do as a team, if they don't fit this culture you're trying to build to get results at the World Cup, then you need to put the players who do fit that. And this Belgium side, they have a newfound resilience. I saw a team that looked more together than I've seen Belgium look in a long, long time against the United States.
Does he stick with the same template against Spain in this one? Do you think CDK is going to start up front, Lukaku on the bench again, De Bruyne on the bench, Doku on the bench, or does he push some of those horses onto the pitch for the starting lineup?
Yeah, look, Rudy Garcia, listen to me, and maybe don't listen to me, right? I'm not a coach for a reason. I hope to be a coach or involved more closer to the sidelines or touch lines at some point in my life. I've learned from some of the best where they said, if it ain't broke, do not fix it. Do not overtinker, because you finally have a group at this World Cup who are playing for one another. Charles Ketelare, he's found himself again. He's one of the most enigmatic players that we cover here at the Gloss Network in Serie A, because in the words of Gennaro Gattuso, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe, well, not so good. But against the U.S., rather than dropping when the ball's in the final third, rather than being at the top of the box, sometimes you forget he's 6 foot tall. And when you look at players like a Pau Cubarsí who can be erratic when crosses get put in the box, I think he's found a connection with the likes of Leandro Trossard, who deserves a lot of credit. I think he's been excellent at this World Cup. I think his ability to just be durable, his ability to use some of that intelligence in playing in half spaces. If you're Belgium and you want to get after a Spanish national team that's 35 games unbeaten, which is ridiculous, being good in transition, being efficient and effective when you're in the final third, put CDK, he's confident, let him cook, and then bring your super sub and Romelu Lukaku, who that's now 3 goals at the World Cup, which that's the first time a substitute player has ever done that at a World Cup. Do not change anything. Let the first 11 cook, bring your thoroughbreds off the bench, and see if the game's still there for the taking.
Yeah, you do wonder if this will be the biggest test for Spain's very solid back line so far at this World Cup.